Okay, hi everyone. This is the introduction before we get started on our exercise assignment, which is going to be making this Vanitas still life. So there's two things I want to introduce. Some of these I'll speak about in class, but I'll just give you a little introduction here as well. The first is the theme of the project, which in this case is Vanitas. So I've made a Pinterest board here. Vanitas refers to a genre of still life painting. We'll discuss it more in class. Originates in the 16th century, but one of the most sort of fascinating aspects of it is how different objects are used to refer to key themes such as life, mortality, the futility of riches, the passing of time, and so on. And you can see how objects like skulls and flowers and books dominate, and also how a closed environment is used as an expressive form. So there's lots of research you can do yourselves, finding inspirational images, and I want you to pay attention to things like composition and lighting, and just so much cool stuff you can do with this as a format. Okay, the second thing I want to talk about is just getting started in Blender. So if I make a new file, I can just go New, General. I'll save what I was doing. We're going to get something like this. Now, in the first tutorial, after this one, I show you sort of the basics of how to start using all the controls in Blender. But one thing I just want to make really clear now is how to stay organized when we work. So first of all, before I do anything, I'm just going to save my file. File, save. Now, what I want you to have for your 3D fundamentals is a folder that looks something like this. So this is my folder for 3D fundamentals. I have a few extra things like student submissions and so on, but I have some folders that are really important. One is my project files, and that's where I store all of my files. In this case, I've done a few practice works with the Vanitas project here. Then I have a folder called assets, where I put all of the 3D models that I download that I use in the project. Then I have a folder called textures, and that's where I put all of the image files that we're going to use to texture our models. I have a folder called frames, and when we do our rendering, that's going to be really important. I have a folder for video, where I put my exported videos and all of these tutorials. I have a folder for SVG. That's a type of vector graphic file. Once we start moving into laser cutting or holograms or other things that I want to try out, they'll go in there. STL, that refers to stereolithography files. If I make anything for 3D printing, I put them here. And basically, you want to have everything in one folder. And for you guys who might be switching between your laptops and the computers in the lab, this is really important. So every time you switch between computers, you just grab the whole folder, which in this case would be my 3D fundamentals folder, and you just grab that whole thing and copy it onto your hard drive and then put it on the new computer. One other thing I will really strongly recommend is don't work directly from a USB or from a hard drive. When you're working, copy your file onto the local computer and then just use the USB for transport, because the hard drives in USB thumb drives are not always that great and they can break. So use your USBs just to transport your files, but I think it's a good idea when you're working to have a local backup on the computer. Okay, so that's the main takeaway. So if I look at my folder, you should have something basically like this. Here's your 3D models, your project files, and so on. So here I will just go into my project files, give my, new file.blend or something like that, but I suggest a better name than new file, just so you're staying organized from the very beginning. Okay, so that's all you need to know from this introduction video, and I'll see you in exercise 1. Okay, bye-bye.